Welcome back everyone to another episode of Pineleaf on Board, where today we'll be taking a look at Tales from Candlekeep, Tomb of Annihilation. This is a video implementation of the latest game in the Dungeons & Dragons Adventure game series. The game itself is being produced by Wizards of the Coast and WizKids, while the video implementation is being done by BKOM Studios. On the individual game level, this game reflects the actual board game pretty closely. If you're able to do something in the board game, then you're able to do it in this game also. The one exception on this is that this time there is no co-op mode. It is only single player mode at this time. You can take on the role of more than one character, so therefore you can take in up to 4 characters whenever you're playing and going through the dungeon. They are hoping at some point to be able to get a co-op mode in there, but that's another one of those things that first they want to make sure that they have solid gameplay, then they will worry about trying to integrate people together and adding all sorts of stuff. So therefore, let's go and play the game. Let us head on and play. I have a game in progress, but for this demonstration, we will begin a new game. We have up to 3 slots where we could store our progress. Slot 1 is taken, so I'll go into slot 2. We are lucky that you are here. I sense within you the spirit of a great adventurer who might be able to help us in our most desperate hour of need. A terrible death curse, a wasting disease afflicting everyone who has been raised from the dead, is looming over the lands of Toril. Now, I don't know what percentage of the population of Toril has been raised from the dead at some point. After all, it's something I more associate with rich adventurers than with the common folk. But nobles and the like might have a chance of having been raised at some point. The source of this curse has been traced back to the peninsula of Chult. Will you help us put a stop to this malignant evil? If so, I will be your guide throughout your adventure to find a way to clear the evil from our jungles. Be on your guard, for I fear this journey will be your most perilous one. Port Nyanzaru awaits. Eku. So let's start the adventure. And then they ask, are you familiar with the adventure system? If so, you could skip the tutorial. But if you're not, then they recommend that you continue with the tutorial so you see how to play. Now, I have played the previous 4 installments of the series, but I have not actually played Tomb of Annihilation yet, at least not the board game form. Obviously I did some practice here. As you saw, I have a game in progress. Tomb of Annihilation, though, follows the same rules and procedures as the previous ones, so therefore I am familiar with the system. So therefore I'm skipping to tutorial. And we are given a map. Here is the campaign map, and in here we have 13 main adventures in all. We have the tutorial, which is separate from everything else, and then we have 12 linked adventures that form our main campaign. Now, I'm presuming that this is how the board game is going to operate on that, where there's this little separate learner one here and then the actual place. That's not too unusual for the series in there, but I'll have to wait for the board game to come in. As of this recording, this video game has been out for a day, but it's going to be another week before the general distribution of the board game. The board game was put on limited release for Gen Con, so therefore there are some people who already have it. There are already reviews out there. There are a couple of Let's Plays out there. But since I didn't go to Gen Con, I was not able to get my hands on a copy of it. But that will happen soon. For now, though, we do have this. Now, in here, you'll see that we have these main adventures. We also have these little side quests. These side quests are additional little quests that you could do that are over and above the ones that come from the board games. So far, all the side quests that I've seen are to go into the dungeon and kill a certain type of monster, about anywhere from 5 to 8, depending on the difficulty setting that I guess they consider it to be on. Nevertheless, let us try the first adventure of the campaign itself. This is Favor for Jessamine. You have come to Port Nanzaru seeking to end the strange death curse that has befallen the land of Toril. Magical healing has grown weaker, and in some cases begun to fail entirely, even reversing earlier healing. However, first you need a starting point, and after kicking around town for a while, you are pleased to have an opportunity fall into your lap. The merchant prince Jasmine is looking for some poisonous mushrooms found in the jungle, and if you can find some for her, she may well prove to be a vital source of information for you. So this is to kick you off and to get you into your adventure. So therefore, it's not part of the object to cure. And I thought that maybe these poisonous mushrooms are going to be an ingredient for whatever cure they're looking for, but no. Looks like somebody's looking for these for some reason. Are they using them for the cure or not? You don't know yet. But you think that person may have a clue to send you along the way to further you along on your quest. Alright, now, there are 3 quest difficulty levels. This is not part of the board game. Board game, I think, is everything is pretty much set as normal. I think normal is how it comes in the board game. But because there's this progression system, they allow you to go back and play earlier adventures at harder settings after your character has progressed. The idea of progression, this seems to most closely go with the progression type that you have in Temple of Elemental Evil. There seems to be some things in common on that. Now, I have read the rulebook to this game, even though I haven't seen it yet, since the rulebook is on a PDF. So therefore, if you want a hard or horrific, you do have to go and get your character up to snuff before you could try that. As in rewards, you'll get 3 chests, 100 gold, and 10 XP. The whole thing about player XP and stuff like that is also added to this game. The idea of how they handle advancement between games seems to be done differently, while how they handle the in-game stuff for the main adventures themselves, that seems to be done according to the board game. So let's start our quest. We have a choice of 4 different heroes here. At this point, you're allowed 1 character. Now this is a little unusual in the board game, where usually I would have thought that this adventure would be designed for 2 to 4, something like this. But let's go with that. Now, we could try Dragonbait, who is our paladin. But we also have a bard. The bard, I think, works best with others. Ashara is a wizard, and of course, wizards tend to be a little bit on the brittle side, so I don't know about trying a wizard. And then we have a ranger here, who would be good at stealth and at shooting. But let's try the paladin and see how this goes. We hit the plus. Oh, actually, no, we hit select hero, and then that fills that in. Then we hit start. Oh, before we hit start, we actually better make sure we have our loadout right. They do have a default loadout. This would be the recommended loadout if you're a new player, but you could switch some of your skills in. The Holy Avenger is a trait, so you can't swap that out. But swift strikes can be replaced by lunging strikes. This is a little bit of a, you move forward and attack through there. And here, this allows you to potentially hit 2 enemies, but the attack roll is only a +4 instead of +8 on the attack. Utilities. Eh, this one allows you a little bit. Alright, this allows allowing you to sense those who harm, prevent the next monster spawn from happening. That can be useful if things are getting real bit rough on you. I think we will keep this as is, and then the daily. You have a choice between Grievous Strike, which is to get a +4 damage one up here. So this can do quite a lot of damage, and it's not spent if you miss. Well, Compelled Duel, I think Compelled Duel, you can either grab someone and tell them to come here so they spend it. So that the monster moves to you so you don't have to spend your movement in order to reach the monster. That can be useful. This is especially useful if they're on someone else and you want to act a little tankish stuff, and then Blessed Strike. You gain advantage. And the Crusaders. Actually, let's try Compelled Duel. And let's work with that one. And now we can start. And we get this really nasty icon. Alright, this should prove to be an easy task. Find the mushrooms, collect samples, and bring them back to Jessamine. Alright, fine. Thank you, Eku. Now, this whole thing is tile-based. Since this is based on a board game, and you get the idea how the board game operates because you've got all these tiles going on in here. They're interlocking tiles. The whole game is done randomly. That's the thing to keep in mind in here. They have an adventure. Usually, you draw tiles, and eventually you run to an objective tile. And the setup to the game is such that usually your objective tile is 9 to 13 tiles down. It all depends upon the scenario and the like, and the specific rules for setup. But that's how it usually went with Castle Ravenloft. So I'm going to guess that it might work the same way here. But you start on this start tile, which is a double tile. And I think we are going to start right here. And the idea is that you want to move next to another tile so you can explore. You want to move as quickly as possible. And that's because you have these things called encounters that you get if you don't. Alright, you move there. I click next. Now, I could also take another action, but what other action is there at the beginning of the game? Usually there isn't. So usually your first action is to move this, skip the other action, and then hit next. Now we go to the exploration phase. And during the exploration phase, you put down the new tile, and you also see what's on this tile. There's one monster spawn spot here. They call them ambush spots in this. So we got a raptor right there. And we also have a couple of traps down there. Traps can be a little bit of a pain. We also have what's called a challenging tile. A challenging tile is the same thing as in the board game, represented by these black arrows, because you put the tile that you draw, you turn it towards the side that has an arrow on it. If it's a white arrow, it says no encounter. A black arrow says there is an encounter. If you don't explore, there's automatically an encounter. So in the video game, they call them challenging tiles. But the challenging tile, the encounter you pulled, is called a shattered tree, which means there's no encounter really. And now the villain phase. And I'm pounced on by this raptor who missed me apparently. So therefore, we can look here, and this tells us what the Velociraptor has. And this gives the tactics of the raptor. If the monster is adjacent to the hero, it will attack the hero. Otherwise, it will attack to rend the hero. This is 7 and 1. If the monster is within one tile of monster, it will attack with a pounce. And the pounce does the same attack and damage here. That's just then for flavor. Usually, there's a difference between the attack value and the damage value that you can get in there. And otherwise, the monster moves one tile towards the closest hero. It will do the first one of these it finds. And click on the portrait in order to close it. Don't make the mistake of clicking on the map accidentally trying to close something, because you're in trouble there. So this represents each of the heroes, where they're at. This shows you what enemies they control. When they say control, that means that are going to act during your turn. And then these are healing searches, which hopefully we won't need to use those. Now it is my turn, and I think it's time for me to attack this raptor. Now I have 2 at-will powers. I'm not going to waste a compelled duel on a raptor that's right next to me, since that's only a daily. Holy Adventure, a +9 attack, or a +4 attack. Now this allows me potentially to attack 2 enemies, so this one can do extra damage to undead. Okay, the raptor is not undead, but better attacks attempt, so yeah. Okay, heal the raptor. I got a belt of Hill Giant Strength. You get a treasure whenever you kill a monster. Actually, the first time you kill a monster each turn. And while it's in your inventory, your hero gains 1 damage to attack hits. On a failed attack, this item is destroyed. Ouch. So therefore, I want to use a high percentage attack as long as I've got that thing on, because otherwise I'll lose the item in question. Now, I'm going to bypass these traps by going here. And next phase. Now here we have a treasure. So the question is, do I want to try to collect this treasure or not? Now it's going to be very slow going with these traps here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move here. Actually, I'm going to move here. I'm going to trigger at least 1 trap here. Hopefully it's not going to be an active trap, but yeah. Okay, I triggered a trap, and I took 3 damage from it. That was nasty. But I decided to take that potential hit, because if I went down here, tried to disable the trap, even if I successfully disabled it, then I have to wait a full another turn in order to go in. Yeah, that would have been too slow. So let's see what's in here. Seize the moment. Now, what did that do for me? Alright. I don't know. It looks like they gave me a blessing of some sort. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure what that blessing was. Alright, let's... Oh! Ah, I see what's now. It gave me additional actions I could take. Oh, okay. Probably at the single worst time I could have gotten that, because I've got nothing else here, no other action. Okay, I could try to disable a trap. Yeah. Alright, I can do that. So I will try to disable this trap right here. And I failed to disable the trap. It says triggered. So that means I failed to disable it, but it was a dud anyway, so it didn't matter. Ah, alright. I was allowed 1 extra action that I could have done in any way I wanted to. Okay. Stayed next to there, explored, and looks like a veggie pygmy. No, actually it's a Batiri zombie, which is a goblin undead apparently. Its monster is within 1 tile. It moves adjacent to the closest hero and attacks. Otherwise, 1 tile toward closest hero. You know, pretty standard stuff. 7+1, and apparently the real nasty thing with this one is that it's 2/2. So I'm going to need to do that. Oh, but I do have this belt of giant strength. So if I hit, I should be able to kill the veggie pygmy. Oh, it's undead anyway. Oh, and I get a wand of fireballs. So... Ah! Alright, it's already showing the damage here, so all the attacks show the modified value now. So I can do quite a bit with a fireball here if I had a whole bunch of enemies. Because this is able to kill each monster on a single tile. Alright, let's get out of here and move here. And explore. Here are the mushrooms, that Jessamine ones. Now, you just have to gather them up and you're on your way. Although you should be wary, for these mushrooms can be deadly. Now, there are actually 2 areas with mushrooms, because I need to collect 4 of them, or at least 2 of them. I don't know how this works on the board game. I presume that there are 2 special tiles in here, but this came up pretty early. So it looks like it's not following the traditional single tile 9 to 13, because we had a tile there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4. So apparently you start running of mushrooms relatively early. Now let me move here. And I get my poisonous mushrooms. Now I probably should have moved here so that I could get in and so that I would be able to explore. I failed to explore, so therefore I have an encounter. No exploration, poisonous dart, no skill available to interrupt, okay. Attack and stun the active hero. Oh, nasty. Ouch! So I take 2 damage and I'm stunned. Oh, but I'm playing Dragon Bait, and at the start of each of my turns, I can take 1 condition on Dragon Bait and end that condition. And I only have 1 condition, that's the stun, so might as well undo the stun. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to move here and then pick the mushroom. So I got my second sample and explore. Okay, Constrictor Weed. The active hero becomes stunned. Well, that's not much against Dragon Bait, as we found earlier. Ouch! And yeah, get rid of the stun. Now I'm starting to get hurt. It's telling me that I got a potion of healing if I wanted one. Now the question is it better to use the potion of healing? It says cost free. Does that mean it doesn't take an action? Let's see what happens if I use one. Oh, that's right. Alright, there you go. There you go. I have +2 there. That's all well good. It does not take an action. That's good to know. So the question is, should I use the other one now or should I wait till later? We'll have to decide on that. But right now I have this another Batira zombie here. So let's go take the Holy Adventure and give him some swipe. Yeah. Ooh, a chest of gold. Okay, that's good to see. And we will head here, and I'm looking for another set of mushrooms. Now remember, the whole thing is random. The tiles are put in a random order. This is, as I said, is also true for the board game. And here is the second set of mushrooms. I think this is designed to be a relatively short adventure. So it's a relatively easy adventure also compared to some of the others you'll run into. Let's head here. Let's pick our mushroom. Alright. Apparently I took some damage from it instead of getting... There's a possibility you could take damage when you try to take it. Okay, let's do that and click on me. Alright, good. Up to 6. Now, I might just have saved that. That's a possibility also there. Let us go to the next phase. And we have here a straw man. A straw decoy has been placed here by some of the local natives. The straw man counts as a hero for purposes of monster behaviors. You're kidding me. Okay. So therefore, you have HP of 1, AC of 1. So this is the strange thing. Now let me collect this. Okay, I've got my mushroom sample. Let us head here because I want to collect my last sample. But I do also need to explore, so just by moving next to the edge. And another one of those undead monsters. Okie dokie. Now, of course, I do have the option of attacking here, but I really want to get this mushroom. But it's... I get hurt trying to take care of it. Never mind. Now, I want to stay next to here, so I am going to have to worry about having to sit around and take an encounter. Now, we have Zabo mushroom spores. Each hero in the active heroes tile gains disadvantage. Remember, though, that since A, I'm taking a mushroom next turn, it's not going to worry too much about disadvantage. And B, I'm dragon bait, so therefore I can get rid of a condition each turn. That means I'm going to let this stand. But I could use the adrenaline I gained in order to get rid of it instead. Now, adrenaline is pretty much the same thing as experience in the board game. In the board game, if you have 5 experience, you could use it to spend to counteract an encounter. So therefore, this serves the same purpose. I think the reason they don't call it experience is because they use experience in the campaign form here. Alright, so we'll go to the next phase. There we go. I'm under disadvantage. And I get rid of it, of course. And now, hopefully, I can pick this. Actually, it would have been important because I'm sure there's a die roll involved in picking these mushrooms. And I got my last mushroom. I said it was going to be easy. Let's bring those samples back. Yes, this adventure is easy. The rest of them, not so much, I think. So therefore, this is completed. And we get a list on treasures. Now there are 4 chests here. I got 3 for the adventure itself, and I got the treasures that I picked up along the way. So therefore there are 4 things here. And these are for craft items, minor little craft items that you pick up. And this goes with the crafting system. The crafting system is how they handle your character advancement instead of using money, because it's purely money that does the stuff in the board game. So they added a little bit more theme to how they do the advancement here, that you're crafting, that you're improving your equipment. But it comes down to pretty much the same thing, I suspect. And we level up, and you level up as a player. And that's how you unlock extra things. Which is level 2. I receive another chest for that, which has these things in here. And here we are. So therefore I explored 8 tiles and defeated 3 mobs. So you can see it took 8 tiles here. So that's a relatively short adventure. So I'm guessing that they might have done it so that you've got, maybe you've shuffled up 4 tiles, 2 of them that had mushrooms in it, you put them below 4 other tiles, and that way it guaranteed that you had at least 5 tiles in the game. That's going to be my guess. I'll find that out when I see the actual board game. So I have to do a comparison video of the board game at some point just to see what's where. As I said, on the tactical side, it looks like it's pretty much the same as the board game. On the campaign side, on how you progress your character, it's done a little bit differently. So let's go back to the map. and I unlock hedge trimming, which is the next adventure in the group. And we have these anvils open up here. This says that these are for the crafting system. None of them are sparkling or flashing yet, so that means I really can't craft anything at this time. So we won't worry about that. I'm making progress towards level 2. And I think the next level, yes, I will unlock a new hero slot where I could bring in 2 heroes for an adventure instead of just 1. And we have another side adventure. Now these side adventures are slay monster type quests. Those are the only type of side adventures I've seen so far. In this one, this looks like a classic type one. Is I'm supposed to find and deal with the leader of the enemy tribe. And I have seen a couple of videos where they've played this one. It looks like they look for a village. The village tile spawns the tribe leader and all that stuff. So therefore that looks like it's based on finding an objective tile. So I'm going to guess that's going to come somewhere between 9 and 13 into the adventure. But we can find that out in the next episode of Pineleaf on Board, Tomb of Annihilation.